you know, probably nobody up here has been the subject of more incoming fire from the Republicans and the special interests. So I think I know exactly what I'm walking into, and I am prepared to take them on.
Does it mean that you're further down the road than your opponents in this, or are you saying that you can do things that these folks can't do when it comes to being an agent of change?
Absolutely, because I've been an agent of change. You know, you go back 35 years, you know, I worked to help make the case for the law that thankfully required that public schools give an education to children with special needs. I worked to reform education and health care in Arkansas against, you know, some pretty tough odds. In the White House, I worked to create, you know, health care for kids and, you know, reform a lot of the other programs like taking on the drug companies.
They can't. You're saying
well,
they can't.
I'm not saying that, you know, I'm only making my case that this is what I have done.
I'll come to all of you. I didn't want to get into this, but I've covered Washington for a long time. And I know President Clinton came to Washington talking about change. President Bush came to Washington talking about change. So many people in the administrations and in Congress say Washington is set up to resist change.
Absolutely.
And God love all of you for making this argument.
Can I just say,
I've been out of this.
President Clinton inherited a deficit, a debt that had been quadrupled in the previous 12 years. Now, anybody who doesn't think taking on the special interest to raise taxes on corporations, raise taxes on the wealthy, begin to whittle away at the deficit, to be able to leave with a balanced budget and a surplus, if that didn't take a lot of change that actually produced results, then I think we've got amnesia. You know, change is hard, but change is possible if you're prepared to take it on and follow through.
I want to just want to say a quick word about this. You know, it is true that these entrenched interests, whether you're talking about oil companies, drug companies, gas companies, whoever, these entrenched interests are literally stealing our children's future. They have a stranglehold on this democracy, and they are having an incredibly destructive force on the middle class, on families being able to do what my family has done, and so many who are sitting here have been able to do. And the problem is you can't be with those people, take their money, and then challenge them. It doesn't work. You have to be willing to actually stand up and say no. No to lobbyist money, no to PAC money, no corporate lobbyists working for me in the White House. If you intend to take them on, and if it is personal for you, and this is extraordinarily personal for me, if it's personal for you, then you can be successful bringing about the change. Teddy Roosevelt, just one quick example. Teddy Roosevelt, a great American president, he didn't make deals with the monopolies and the trusts. Teddy Roosevelt took them on, busted the monopolies, busted the trusts. That's what it's going to take. We have a battle in front of us. We do. I don't think we have a problem with politicians in Washington spending enough time with lobbyists and going to cocktail parties. They do it all the time. They do it every single day. And I'll tell you who's paying the price for those cocktail parties. Natalie Sarkeesian, every single American who doesn't have health care coverage, everybody who's going to the gas pump and paying so much money for their gas. When are we going to have a president who actually takes these people on? You know, that's what I'm going to do.
Senator, let me go. Senator Obama, I'll come to you.
Look, I think it's easy to be cynical and just say, you know what, it can't be done because Washington's designed to resist change. But in fact, there have been periods of time in our history where a president inspired the American people to do better. And I think we're in one of those moments right now. I think the American people are hungry for something different and can be mobilized around big changes, not incremental changes, not small changes. I actually give Bill Clinton enormous credit for having balanced those budgets during those years. It did take political courage for him to do that. But we never built the majority and coalesced the American people around being able to get the other stuff done. And, you know, so the truth is actually words do inspire. Words do help people get involved. Words do help members of Congress get into power so that they can be part of a coalition to deliver health care reform, to deliver a bold energy policy. Yeah, don't discount that power, because when the American people are determined that something is going to happen, then it happens. And if they are disaffected and cynical and fearful and told that it can't be done, then it doesn't. I'm running for president because I want to tell them, yes, we can. And that's why I think they're responding in such large numbers.
You know, this is the kind of Washington bickering that the public turns off to. And, you know, with all due respect, as a governor, I'm frustrated every time you guys and the president get nothing done, because then the burden is on us. And, you know, John, I understand your frustration. I understand, you know, that it's personal. But, you know, to resolve problems, you got to bring people together. You got to heal this country. You can't, you know, it's great to say we're going to take everybody on, but, you know, it's going to take coalitions of people backing us. It's going to take public financing to get the special interests out of politics. It's going to take bipartisanship. You know, what I've said is that if I'm elected president, I'm going to have a cabinet of Republicans, Democrats, and independents. Now, I won't overdo the Republicans, but my point is it's how you govern. It's coalition building. It's bringing the public, citizens' core of activists. It's asking the public to sacrifice, to do something for the country, like being more energy efficient, like national service. You know, I've got a program, 2 years, the government pays for your college loans, your tuition. You give 1 year of national service to the country. It's emboldening the electorate. You can't do it by just fighting and, you know, taking everybody on. You got to bring people together, and that's a frustration.
Give me 30 seconds on this, because you just said something. Please.
I'll hold you to it.
You can. I actually completely agree that it's the responsibility of the president to unite and galvanize the American people. It is also the responsibility of the president, and I will do it, to work with members of Congress to get things done. But these entrenched moneyed interests that have a stranglehold on the middle class, that are doing incredibly destructive to American jobs and the health care system, energy, all taxes, trade, they're in everything, absolutely everything. You cannot nice these people to death. It doesn't work. I have been in the trenches fighting them for my whole adult life, and it takes strength, backbone, fight, and you have to take them on. Yes, Barack, I agree with you completely that we need to unite America, and we need to galvanize the American people. And Bill, I completely agree with what you just said. This is not a fight with politicians, and this is certainly not a fight with the American people. It is a fight for the American people against those people who are stopping the change.
All right. Let me turn to something else. Reversing, you invoked the name of Al Gore a few moments ago. Reversing or slowing global warming is going to take sacrifice. I'm sort of sorry Chris Dodd isn't here, because he's talked a lot about a carbon tax in this election. Al Gore favors a carbon tax. None of you have favored a carbon tax. Is it a bad idea, or is it just so politically unpalatable that you guys don't want to propose it?
Can I answer? You know, I was energy secretary. It's a bad idea, because when you have a carbon tax, first of all, it's not a mandate. What you want is a mandate on polluters, on coal companies, on those that pollute, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by a certain target. Under my plan, 30% by the year 2020, 80% by the year 2040. It takes international leadership. The better way to do it is through a cap and trade system, which is a mandate. Furthermore, a carbon tax, that's passed on to consumers. That's passed on to the average person. That's money you take out of the economy. So it's a bad idea. Cap and trade is a mandate, but it's also going to take presidential leadership. It's going to take all of us here, every American, you know, to think more efficiently about how we transport ourselves, what vehicles we purchase, appliances in our homes. It's going to take a transportation policy that doesn't just build more highways. We have to have commuter rail, light rail, open spaces. We got to have land use policies where we improve people's quality of lives.
Senator Obama.
Well, I agree with Bill that I think a cap and trade system makes more sense. That's why I proposed it, because you can be very specific in terms of how we're going to reduce the greenhouse gases by a particular level. Now, what you have to do is you have to combine it with a 100% auction. In other words, every little bit of pollution that is sent up into the atmosphere, that polluter is getting charged for it. Not only does that ensure that they don't game the system, but you're also generating billions of dollars that can be invested in solar and wind and biodiesel. I do disagree with one thing, though, that Bill said, and that is